Okay, boxing fans, this is my prediction for Danny Garcia versus Zab Judah. Straight into this, Danny Garcia is 25 wins undefeated, 16 of which by way of knockout. He is the current and unified WBA and WBC world title holder. He's facing his first, well no he's not, he's facing big name and most of the time low risk Zab Judah, also known as the American Audley Harrison. That's what I think anyway. Yeah, Zab is or the American Audley. He is so mentally unstable. You just have no idea what's going to happen with this guy. He is at the tail end of his career. Judah, 42 wins, 29 of which by way of knockout. No significant wins to date, or fair ones anyway. He did register some type of victory over Lucas Matisse, but I think the majority of people saw Zab Judah losing that fight by 2 or 3 rounds, so I don't really know what to think about that really. So let's say he lost that one, was losing to the South African guy that he then knocked out, luckily for him. Lost to Khan. What else can you say really? This must be it for Judah. He can't be recycled any more times after this, surely. Pushing 35. Last chance saloon. How many times can all of you people who are going to watch this fight believe in Judah? I can't believe in him anymore personally. I will watch the fight to see someone get knocked out, but I don't believe in Judah. I really don't believe in him. Other thing I've got to point out is, does anyone think that Garcia is fighting Judah so he can say, I beat the man who beat my mandatory, therefore I don't have to fight him? That is just a thought. I think that is the Mayweather way of going around things. It's just a thought to bring out. Either way, you're not fighting the Argentinian in the corner, so sort it out, Garcia. Fight Lucas Matisse, you're mandatory. Otherwise, you should be stripped of one of your titles. Looking at the advantages, look at the power. Obviously, Danny Garcia has good power in his left hook. The big question is his killer instinct. Like I said, everyone's going to go, oh, what do you mean? You say something bad about Danny Garcia? What's up with you? Well, he did drop Amir Khan like a sack of shit, I agree. Left him paralysed from the neck down. And somehow Amir Khan then somehow survived another 3 minutes. How did he do that? How did he not get the job done within 3 minutes? Of a guy who's paralysed from the neck down, looking for a wheelchair to sit in. Just a question. You look at Judah, he's a southpaw, left-hand dominant fighter, very decent power in his left hand. He can use both long and short shots. Power is the last thing to leave a fighter, therefore he's still dangerous. However, let's look at Danny Garcia and his lack of defense. Look at Danny Garcia, he's wide open to the right hand. Like I said, he cannot defend against a right-hand dominant fighter. That's why he was troubled by Khan in the first 2 minutes. That's why he's not faced Lucas Matisse, because he's a huge punching right-hand dominant fighter. Look at Judah, what's his main tool? Left hand. So already he doesn't have the main tool needed to get the job done. Another thing, Judah's a southpaw, more vulnerable to the right hand of Garcia. Garcia, a right hand dominant fighter. I'm sure he also has pop in his right hand, other than just his left. You understand what I'm saying? Or let's move on. Speed and movement. This is Judah's biggest advantage. Biggest advantage. Okay? Judah holds the speed and movement advantages over Garcia in both hand speed, foot speed. He can move, he's slicker, he's got the, he's faster. That's what he is. The only thing I want to know is at 35, how long will it last? He's also got a 4-inch reach advantage. How long will he use that for before he mentally gives in? Just something, that I think he should think about. Khan did show in the first 2 rounds that Garcia is very, very worryable by movement and by speed. So if Garcia can not defend against the 1-2 straight down the middle, maybe Judah should start to do that and not get in a firefight number 1. That would be the first thing I'd probably suggest he doesn't do. Do you think he can do that 1-2 straight down the middle, or 1 and then look for an uppercut? I don't know, maybe. You look at the mental aspect, and I've got to say this is one of the things that is stopping me from betting on this fight. This is one of the things that is stopping me betting on this fight. Garcia's camp have totally changed lately. Before Garcia Khan, I've never heard Danny Garcia himself say he was going to knock people out. His dad, yeah, we know his dad does it. His dad goes and talks shit. That's fine. You let his dad do it, you know, because he's not in the ring at the end of the day. It was his dad says shit, and his son backs it up. That was how it was. But now, Danny Garcia himself is saying shit. You understand? He is mentally changed post the Morales 2 fight. I think he now believes in his own power. He thinks he can knock anybody out, because he's only a kid, by the way, same age as me. So, you know, I think there's a chance that he may be overhyping himself. He believes in his own hype. He believes in his own power. And let's be real here, guys. You know, Morales, you should be knocking out. Yeah, I think so. What weight was this guy at when he was in his prime? His last in his prime fights were at what? Super featherweight. Not lightweight, where he started getting beat. Again, well, more convincingly. Not at like welterweight, where he got knocked out. Let's be real. You know, he should be knocking people like Morales out at this weight. I think he should. You know, Khan, that's a very good win for him, I agree. But then Khan fought stupid, you know. Let's look at that. He was reckless, got wild, and then he got took out. You look at Judah, maybe he can take advantage of that. Maybe his movement will cause him problems. He'll get really reckless himself and leave himself open. Who knows? Look at the chin and the defense. Garcia has worked on his defense, but he still cannot duck a right hand to save his life. You know, like I said, he's got a very good chin, which is his last line of defense. How often do you leave your last line of defense open? You don't. Sooner or later, it's going to get cracked. Morales isn't going to take advantage of it. Luckily, Khan doesn't sit down on shots. Khan throws so many shots so quickly, he puts no power into them. So he was not going to hurt him, was he? In hindsight, he wasn't going to hurt him. Let's look at it like that. You know, Judah, is he going to sit down on his shots? Maybe. Could he hurt him? Maybe. How do I see this fight going? That's a totally different question. You know. But another thing that I've got to see this fight, I've got to say about this, you know, Judah. Look at his mentality. Look at Judah's mentality. Every time he fights, the going gets tough, and Judah gets going. Every time, going home. I mean, not going. Let's fight. Going home. He gets on the first bus home. I don't like it. I don't like Judah anymore at all. I knew he was going to lose against Khan because it was just it was the right time. It was stuff like that. He can't, you know, Danny Garcia can't lose this fight. The way I look at it, Danny Garcia cannot lose this fight. And even if he did lose this fight on points, okay, are Golden Boy going to let him? They've invested a lot of time and money in this fight. Are they going to let Garcia lose this fight on points? I doubt it. I sincerely doubt it. So overall, I'm going with Garcia, maybe scraping a unanimous decision victory. Maybe controversially. So that's what I'm going for. You can disagree with me. You can agree with me. I don't care. The way I see this fight going is Garcia is going to get brought down to earth in some type of fashion where it's going to be a very hard fight for him. It's going to go to a decision, and Judah's going to lose. Judah's going to start crying, blah, 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 and then everyone's going to go, wow,